I'm Claire, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a thrift haul of clothes that I've added to my closet over the past 2 months. It's kind of a bigger haul than I realized. Like when I went and gathered all the items to film the try on and counted them, there were more than I expected. This is more than I usually add to my closet in a 3-month period. And I think the main reason is that I recently worked at a thrift store for a couple months. It didn't end up being the right job for me, so I'm not working there anymore. But while I was there, for one thing, I wasn't allowed to wear sleeveless shirts on the job, so I wanted to get myself some more short sleeve options since I didn't really have a lot. I prefer sleeveless shirts in most situations. And for another thing, I had an employee discount and I wanted to make use of that, especially once I knew I was leaving. So I have a lot to show you, from some basics to some more exciting pieces. Definitely some cozy fall items that I'm very excited to wear once the weather is consistently cooler, so let's get into it. There are kind of 3 sections to this haul, and the first is from before I started working at the thrift store. I was visiting my family in my hometown and went thrifting with my mom, and we only went to one place, but I had pretty good luck. The first couple things actually are short sleeve shirts, even though I didn't know yet that I needed them. So first we've got this light blue one. It's more of a sweater than a standard t-shirt, and I'm pretty sure it's cotton, though there aren't any tags on it. I'm guessing that means it was part of a set at one point, like with a cardigan, but they were split up. And I think this is just a really good basic, maybe even an elevated basic, because the sweater details make it more interesting than just a regular t-shirt. I think it'll be easy to pair with a lot of things. I wore it at work with skirts and under my denim dress, could have worn it with pants, and I think it could also work for a different work environment like an office job. And I think the fit is part of what makes it versatile. It's fairly fitted, but not super tight, so I don't have to worry about it being too bulky to go with certain things, and it's also long enough to tuck in, but short enough that it doesn't have to be tucked in, depending on what makes sense for what I'm wearing it with. So I think I'll get a lot of use out of it. It's also a color I like to wear, so I'm happy I found it. Also, I'm sorry if my voice sounds weird. I don't know if it's like a cold or fall allergies or what, but I'm sneezing a lot today. Like, I want to push through and record this today in case I lose my voice or something, but I'm gonna see how far I can get. I might have to finish this another time. Next is this floral t-shirt. It's kind of a tan color, and then the floral pattern is a lighter color and very small, so it's very subtle but still more interesting than just a plain t-shirt. And deciding whether or not to get this one was a case of, I have something similar that I wear a lot, so do I not need this because I have that other thing, or should I get it because I know I wear things like this? And I decided to get it because it's different enough from the thing I already had, which is more of a cropped, fitted, puffy sleeve shirt, though it does have a similar print. It's this thing back here that you might recognize from other videos. So I think this new one will function a little bit differently in outfits because it's more of a boxy, flowy fit and not as detailed. So if I sub it into the same kind of outfits, it'll be more of a relaxed vibe and maybe give more of a contrast to things like skirts. And of course I can also wear it in just more relaxed, hanging out at home type of outfits since it's very comfortable. So yeah, it's cute, it's comfy, it was a good find. Moving away from tops for the moment, the next thing is these black cargo pants. My mom found these and showed them to me in the thrift store, and I was definitely interested in them because they're similar material to some brown pants that I have that I really like. You might have seen them if you watched my ThredUp haul a few months ago or my outfit recipes video. They're a very lightweight cotton and kind of a seersucker texture. So these black ones are similar, but they just have a little more going on with a drawstring and pockets on the side. And I think that these will also be something that I get a lot of wear out of, but first I have to address the one issue with them, which is that they're too long. You're gonna start to notice a theme that a lot of things in this thrift haul need to be altered or mended in some way, which I usually try to avoid, but I was like, these should be pretty easy to fix. I'll just fold them up at the bottom and sew them in a couple places. So I did do that, but because this is such a thin, relaxed fabric, it didn't totally work. The folded fabric just kind of flops back down. So I'm gonna have to go back and sew them some more so they actually stay at the right length. But I think once I do that, these are gonna be really good for Kansas City fall, because I want to wear fall clothes, but it's still kind of hot here, so the fact that they're really lightweight should mean that they'll work for the weather while still having that fall vibe. Now we've got one of my more exciting finds, which is this black floral vest. It's a very thin corduroy material with horizontal rows of embroidered flowers. I'm kind of trying to see if I'm a vest person. I don't have a lot of them, but I see them a lot from fashion YouTubers, and they seem like a good layering piece, especially for me because I get overheated easily, but they don't add as much warmth compared to something with sleeves. My favorite thing about this vest is the embroidery, but I also think the fit is pretty good. I can technically wear it buttoned, though I do get some gapping at the front, so I would still want to wear something underneath. And I also think it works well unbuttoned, and I like the way that the bottom hemline kind of comes to a point on each side. I do think it would look a little better if the lining fabric were a little stiffer or more substantial, since that would help with the shape and the structure, but it's probably more comfortable the way it is. I haven't really had a chance to style this much yet, but I'm looking forward to figuring out some witchy outfits where it can really shine. And then the last thing I got during this thrift trip was this skirt and shirt set, another thing that I'm pretty excited about. So it's a long sleeve button-down shirt with gold buttons and then a pleated mini skirt, and they're both in this kind of dark paisley print that's like green and red and blue. And I really love this print because I feel like with a lot of patterns, like all the floral skirts that I have, there's a background color and then there's the color of the pattern on top. But with this set, I feel like there's about the same amount of each color, so I can't really say what's the background color and what's the print color, and that means it brings a little something different to my closet. And I think it's going to be great for witchy outfits this fall. Though it could be fun to wear these pieces together, I will probably wear them separately a lot of the time. I wear a lot of skirts, and I like to wear button-downs as an outer layer, so I think they'll both fit into my wardrobe pretty seamlessly. Though before I start wearing them, I do need to do a little bit of mending and altering. The shirt has a small hole in the sleeve. I think it might have happened in the washing machine since I didn't notice a hole when I was trying it on, and technically the shirt wasn't supposed to go in the washing machine. The fabric is a rayon wool blend and it's kind of thin and delicate. So I just need to sew that up or patch it, and then the skirt is a little bit big in the waist, so I want to take it in. It's kind of on the borderline where it almost works as is, especially if I have something tucked into it, but I think it'll work better if it's a little less roomy. I don't really have much experience making alterations, so hopefully it works out okay. I might make a video about dealing with the things in my mending pile as someone with very little sewing ability, so let me know if you want to see that. But other than those small issues, I'm very happy with this find and very excited to wear these. Okay, so the next section of this haul is from a ThredUp order that I placed after I got my thrift store job and found out that I wasn't allowed to wear sleeveless shirts. Like, overall it was a pretty relaxed dress code. You could wear t-shirts and sweatpants, but I'm more of a tank top person, so I needed to get some t-shirts, and I also got some pants. So the first thing is this ribbed cropped sweater. I'm not really sure how to describe the color. I think it's green, but it also leans kind of yellow gold, so I'm not exactly sure what to call it. Let me know what you're seeing. Either way, I like this one. It's comfy, it's cute, I like the ribbed texture. It is maybe a little more cropped than I would like. I like the way that it fits and looks when I'm standing normally, but it is a length where if I raise my arms over my head, you can see the bottom of my bra. But I wore it under my denim dress, and that worked well, and I'm sure I can find other layering solutions where the length isn't an issue. So maybe not quite as versatile as the blue sweater from earlier, but I'm still happy to have it. Not a whole lot else to say. Next is this charcoal crop top, kind of just a basic t-shirt, but I really like the shape of it, with the slightly longer sleeves and the cropped boxy fit. If you watched my outfit recipes video, then you know that I don't really like wearing basic unisex t-shirts because I don't like how they fit, but this is a t-shirt fit that I can get behind. Really not a whole lot to say with this one either. It's just a basic casual piece that I can wear with pants or skirts or whatever. And then the last shirt is this light brown one. Unfortunately, I don't enjoy this one quite as much. Like, it was fine for work, but I don't think I'll get that much use out of it now because I feel like it's oversized in a it's just too big for me way, and not so much in a cute way. Just kind of shapeless and not that exciting, but it's still comfy, so it could work for lounging around the house or pajamas or that kind of thing. Moving on to pants, next we've got these light blue wide leg sweatpants. I haven't really been focusing on the brands of items in this video, but these are from the Bloglotties brand. If you don't know, there's a YouTube channel called Bloglotties run by a woman named Cassie Ho, and she made Pilates workout videos. But then she also started an activewear brand called PopFlex, where she focuses on making innovative products or addressing issues that people have with the fit or function of certain items. You might have seen her short form videos where she talks about her design process. And she also now has a line of clothing at Target that is similar to what she sells at PopFlex, but more affordable. Now, I never watched Bloglotties videos, and I've never shopped from either of Cassie's brands. I'm mostly just aware of them through Mia Maple's videos because she's reviewed the clothing a few times and compared the two brands. And she mostly has good things to say about them, so that's why I was interested to try these sweatpants when I saw them on ThredUp. And they are pretty nice, definitely a thicker sweatpant material, so I'll get more use out of them in the winter, but they're very soft and comfy. The waistband seems kind of bulky, but manages to still be fairly flattering. The only real issue is the length. I'm definitely going to need to hem these. Hopefully, because this is a more substantial fabric, I can just fold them under and add some stitches in a few strategic places and they'll stay up, but we'll see. And then last from my ThredUp order are these very wide leg pants with a very small houndstooth pattern that looks more like plaid from a distance. I did already have some tan plaid pants, they're back here, but these feel very different because they're so loose and flowy, I really like the way they fit and how they look, like they'd work for an office job, but I would also just wear them in more casual situations. The only issue is, again, the length. I don't know why I'm having this issue so much lately. Like, admittedly, those black pants from earlier are labeled as a tall size, but these ones and the blue sweatpants are just regular, and I'm not short, I'm pretty average height, so I'm not used to having pants be too long. I don't know if it's because I wear a bigger size than I used to, and bigger sizes are also made longer, or if it's just a coincidence, but I will also need to hem these, and I think I'll need to sew them all the way around because this fabric is not stiff enough to stay in place by itself. So wish me luck with that. Hopefully this pattern will hide any imperfections. And I'm definitely looking forward to wearing these once they're the right length. I just love how flowy they are. Alright, if things look a little bit different, it's because it's a different day. I had to stop recording the other day because my throat hurt, and it's still not feeling great. I definitely have a cold, but I'm feeling okay enough, and I really want to get this video recorded, so here I am. We will see how this goes. We're now moving on to things that I bought while I was working at a thrift store. I didn't do a lot of shopping the first few weeks that I worked there because I was either working till close or I was too tired at the end of my shift to want to shop. But once I decided that I wasn't going to keep working there, I was like, better make use of my employee discount while I still have it. And I made more of an effort to look around a bit after my shifts when I could, and I even went on a day that I wasn't working, so I ended up with several things. The first thing that I found is this rainbow tie-dye maxi skirt. It's cotton, very lightweight and flowy, and also lined, which is nice. I have a lot of skirts, they're all behind me here, so I try not to, or at least I tell myself not to buy any more unless they're significantly different from ones that I have, and I feel like this one does fit that requirement. I don't have anything tie-dye, and this is also a different shape where it flares out at the bottom. And I also just couldn't resist the rainbow colors. Though I will say, I still need to figure out what to wear with this. Like, do I try to pull from the colors in the skirt? Do I wear something neutral with it, like just a black or a white tank top? Let me know if you have any advice for how to style this. Also, this is another piece that I'm gonna have to take in at the waist because it's bigger than it needs to be. It has a very stretchy elastic waist, so when it's not stretched out, it kind of looks like it fits, but it'll stay up better if I can figure out a way to make it smaller. Definitely looking forward to styling it once I get that done. Then the next thing are these brown cargo pants that I actually found in the men's section, because I was thinking about how women's sizing can be really inconsistent. I can wear a different size depending on the brand, and I'm sure men's sizing isn't perfect either, but I was like, let's just see what happens if I go over to the part of the men's pants section that matches my waist size and see what's there. And I found these. Definitely a work pant, like maybe somebody actually used all the extra pockets for something and they're not just there for the vibes. There's even a paint stain on the back, though luckily it blends in pretty well. So I thought they were cool and I decided to get them. I wasn't able to try them on in the store, but they do fit pretty well. Ironically, they're the only pants in this haul that aren't too long. They are a little bit tight in the thighs when I sit down, so I might not end up wearing them a ton, but I feel like they were a successful experiment in a way because they showed me another option for looking for pants at the thrift store. Obviously not all men's pants are going to work for me fit-wise, but it's something to keep trying because I just tend to have a hard time finding good pants at the thrift store, and now I'll have more options. Now we've got a top, this long sleeve mock neck brown floral shirt. This is one that I kept seeing like when I was straightening up the racks, and I was conflicted for a while on whether I wanted to buy it. Because on one hand, I love the print. I've been really into brown lately, so having that as a backdrop to the floral pattern is really nice. And I just enjoy how the print isn't very high contrast, but it still stands out. If there were a skirt in this pattern, I'd be all over it for sure. But on the other hand, I don't like turtlenecks or mock necks that much because I don't like the feeling of clothing touching my neck. But I did eventually try it on, and the neck is fairly loose, and it didn't cost very much even before my discount, and I just love the print so much that I decided to get it. The fit isn't my absolute favorite, like I kind of wish it were tighter or looser instead of this in between, but I'm still excited to style it. It feels perfect for fall. Getting into some more cozy items, I found this Sherpa-lined zip-up hoodie from LL Bean. It's kind of a cool-toned muted pink color, which wouldn't necessarily be my first choice. Like, I think it's pretty, but it doesn't really feel like my color. But I was like, this is from LL Bean, it's such a good deal. I looked it up and this new would be almost $100 and it was tagged at like $15. And I have been looking for more outerwear pieces. I have a couple winter coats, but I don't have as much for when it's like 55 degrees outside and you need an extra layer but not anything too heavy. So I think it's a pretty good find, and it's just so soft it makes me want cooler weather so I can wear it. Then the next thing is this brown shawl in kind of a woven felted fabric. I've never worn anything like this before, but I was watching a Beep World video the other day, and she was talking about like ponchos and capes and how she enjoys items like that that don't follow the expected shape for clothing items, They don't follow the lines of the body. So when I saw this, I thought it could be fun to try. It's like the more whimsical version of a cardigan, and I love cardigans, but I think it could be fun to have this more dramatic version. And I also feel like this being a neutral color makes it a good first shawl to try, because I'm not experimenting with color or pattern. It's a color that fits in really well with things that I have, and I can just experiment with the shape and see how I want to style it. I don't know if it's the most practical item ever, but I think it'll be really fun to play with for this season, and it's also just something cozy to wear at home because it's basically a wearable blanket. And then the last outer layer is not quite as soft and cozy, but still warm. It's this light brown jacket. It looks a little like a down coat, but it's very thin and lightweight and not actual down. It's polyester, which wouldn't be my preference most of the time, but in this case it's good because I'm allergic to feathers. And it's still pretty warm. I get kind of sweaty when I put it on now because the weather hasn't cooled off yet. So once we do get to that colder weather, it should be a good outerwear piece. It's not something that will necessarily add a lot to an outfit aesthetically, but because it's so neutral, it should go with anything. And because the fit is a little looser, it should be able to go over other layers. Like I should be able to fit a bulky cardigan under here without feeling too stuffed in, which is not as much the case with the zip-up hoodie, so they should both be good for different situations. And then the last couple things are dresses. First is this long sleeve dress in kind of a wrap style with an off-white background color and a brown pattern. It does have a little snap to keep both sides together, but when I put it in the washing machine, which again I wasn't technically supposed to do, one side of the snap came unsewed. Luckily that piece is still attached to the other side, so it's not lost and I'll be able to fix it. But I probably also will add some more stitches along the front because there was some gapping even with the snap. But aside from that, I do really like this dress. I like the silhouette, I like the long sleeves, I like the print. It's a little different than anything I have, but it's close enough to my style that it still feels wearable. The one thing I would change is the length. When I tried this on in store, I put it on over what I was wearing because there were no fitting rooms, and I was wearing a long skirt, so I didn't notice as much that this dress is a little shorter than I usually go. It's not short by any means, it still goes a little past my knees, but I kind of wish there were an extra tier at the bottom, or maybe a little ruffle, just to give a little more length and make the skirt more interesting, but it was still a good find. And it has pockets. And then the last item in my haul is this yellow and navy sleeveless dress. The top part is a pale yellow linen blend with a little embroidery and beading, and then the skirt is navy blue with yellow and blue flowers and green leaves. So it's like if you took my standard tank top and skirt combo and fused them together. While I do think it might be more versatile to just have the skirt and wear it with different tops, I also like the simplicity of being able to put on one thing and look like I put together a full outfit. I also really like the shape of this dress. On the hanger, it just kind of looks like a rectangle, but on me it's more fitted, so it has some shape to it, but without being fully bodycon. And it's also really comfortable. I wore it to run some errands the other day, and it was very easy to wear. So I'm really happy with it. One thing that I would possibly change is just to give a bit more detail at the waist, because the way the two fabrics are joined together just looks kind of basic, and I wish it looked more intentional, but that's not a big deal, especially if I'm wearing something else with it. And one other cool thing about this dress was that it still had the original tags on it. It was apparently from Dillard's and cost $62. I'm not really the best at telling how old an item is based on tags or labels, but I am getting a vintage vibe from this, which I always enjoy. So yeah, those are all the items in my summer to fall thrift haul. Even though I got a lot of these things during the summer, there are so many cozy items and colors in the fall palette that I'm really excited to start styling these once the weather cools down. I kind of want to put together like a witchy capsule wardrobe from things I already own just to maximize those fall vibes. I'm hoping that I have time to make a video about that where I show all the items and do some styling, so keep an eye out for that. And then the thing about this haul that I'm less excited about is all the items that need to be mended or altered in some way. I generally try to avoid buying items that aren't quite right and telling myself I can fix it, but I do think it'll be fun, or at least educational, to push the limits of my sewing abilities for these items. And maybe it'll show me that I'm able to do more than I think I can to alter or fix my clothing, or maybe it'll be a good reminder as to why I shouldn't buy things that don't fit quite right. I do always want to be intentional with my purchases, so I won't be mad if it helps me do that. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you to everyone who's watching till the end. Let me know in the comments if you have a favorite item from my haul, or if you've had any good thrift finds recently. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would leave me a like, or maybe even subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!